Hello, everyone. My name is Tautvydas, and a week ago, I returned from San Francisco, where I took part in professional incubator that prepares professionals for startup. So those 3 months totally transformed the way I perceive design and design role in startups. So I want to share a lesson that caused that transformation with you so that you can use design in more robust ways in your working process. So I just wonder, how many designers are here? Any? Just a bit. And how many people are just working with the startups with their own products? Yep, there are some. OK, so I have something for you both. So let me tell a short story. Back in Lithuania, I took part in several startups as a team member and as a freelancer. And my main role was the guy spending the most time in a Photoshop. So actually building beautiful visual pictures was the key role of design in the startups. And when I tried to get involved more into strategic level, I struggled because I didn't know how to use design thinking in actually making decisions how products are being made. And what our design tools are for making those kind of decisions. So I was lucky enough that in San Francisco, I had a chance to take a glimpse in how design is being done in several startups down there, and how design agencies innovate the way a product is being created. So interestingly enough, the design is almost the main competency in the product creation phase. And a designer in that product team is a designer as an innovator, as an investigator, as a problem solver. So this is a guy who actually asks the questions and look for cheapest and quickest answer. So as well, back in Lithuania, I used to take assumptions on our own or with our team and make product decisions based on our own assumptions. We think that we know what customers want, but we don't know what customers want. So talking to customers is what makes designer as investigator the great product guy in a product team. So that's the key lesson: talk to customers, and not only just talk to customers, but to know how and when to talk to customers. So let me share a 3-step framework that helps to determine when and how to talk to customers. So as every product or as every new feature starts with a problem, every product solves some kind of problem. So we usually create a problem in our head, think, OK, this is the problem that we want to solve. So in the first step, we actually need to validate if that problem we're about to solve is actually valid. If some customers share the same problem. And if they do, if that problem is important enough for them to even care, to even look for a solution. So that's the question for the phase number 1. And when we know the right problem, we can move to the solution phase. And because every problem can be solved in different ways. So which is the right solution? That's the question that needs to be answered in the phase number 2. And once again, we have to go back to customers and talk to them. So down in San Francisco, I heard a story about Launchpad Central. It's a startup that had an idea in their head. So they took 1 week to create a simple visualization of their product. So they actually made several wireframe screens in Balsamiq and took those screens and went to potential customers. So they talked to several customers, and not even that they were able to validate that solution was right, but they got a 6-number check that financed their production phase. So talking to customers in solution phase can not only validate if the solution is right, but you can also develop the first customers. And once we have right solution and the right problem, we can move to production stage. And during the production stage, we have to keep on talking to customers to make sure that we don't leave some big usability problems along the way that can cause customers, that could destroy the experience for the customers. Even the product can be right, but if there's usability problems, it doesn't matter at all. And by saying talk to customers, I don't mean expensive user research or some hiring a research company. There are way more simple methods that is as effective for small companies. So in San Francisco, I was lucky enough to work with Francine. She's an amazing UX designer. So during the incubator, what she did, she ran a usability study on Dropbox as her side project. So she took a part of Dropbox interface and wanted to make sure, like, how usable is that. So she needed about 6-7 people to run a usability study on. So what she did, as you see in the picture, she drew a simple poster and stood in front of the coffee shop and asking people, do a usability study for me, I'll buy you a coffee in return. So in an hour or so, she was able to get about 6-7 people to do a usability study, and luckily enough, none of them actually asked for a coffee in return. And the interesting part of that, she wrote a blog post on her research finding, and during 3 days, she got about 8,000 views and 11 job inbounds. So that really shows that so-called guerrilla research methods are really appreciated down there in the Silicon Valley. So let me share a design challenge that I did back in Tradecraft in the incubator. So what I got was a task to make product that would help do grocery shopping easier for my selected target audience. So since at the time I was in a Tradecraft office where a lot of young professionals, so I chose to make grocery shopping easier for young professionals, since it was easier to do usability research on them. So we enter the first stage, which is problem. We need to discover what problem we're actually solving. So what I did, I ran a problem interviews with 6-7 people and asked such a question as, okay, tell me the last time you did grocery shopping. What products are you buying? Like, how much are you spending? Tell me a bit more about your household, who you live with, who you share your living space with. So it took me maybe 2 or 4 interviews to discover some patterns. So every young professional cared to do their grocery shopping as cheap as possible and as time efficient as possible. And every young professional in San Francisco, at least, they share living space with other roommates. So there is like a possible opportunity. If young professionals would collaborate on grocery shopping with their roommates, they could save time and money. So I dig deeper into that, and I found out that people don't really collaborate because it's hard to track money, it's hard to share cost, it's hard to manage all the collaboration. So I think that was interesting enough to pursue and bring into the solution phase. So since every problem, it can be solved in different ways. So the problem is to encourage do grocery shopping collaboratively is also have some different ways to solve it. So I had some insights from the research I made, and I just drew simple pictures representing all my ideas that I had in my head. So the first idea, for example, was imagine the application that would help you to track and share costs. So you can buy products that you are sharing, dial the numbers into application, and at the end of the month, it gets you a notification who owns whom. So that's take all that sharing cost pain out of the way. The second idea was, what if we can make a product that could help identify and suggest new items to be shared? So for example, you're in a shopping center, you need a milk, and you saw like that a big milk jar is on sale. So you can buy a big milk for the same price. So you can buy a big milk and suggest your roommates with application that you want to share that milk with everyone else. And the third idea was, what if the application could inform your roommates when you are about to do grocery shopping, so they can they can ask you to buy something for them. So there was like just 3 ideas that I had insights from the research. And what I did, I just brought those pictures to the same people I did interview with and just asked, okay, these are 3 ideas. I walked them through the ideas as I did with you and said like, okay, pick the one that is solving your problem the most. So about 70% took the first one. And of course I asked, okay, why is this one is more important than others, and why others are less interesting. So by getting those answers, I was able to identify that probably tracking and sharing cost is the best way to encourage people to do grocery shopping collaboratively. And that's when we have a problem and we have a solution, we can actually go and try to build something. But there are also other ways that we can do solution interviews. So for example, this is some paper sketches that I did for the same product. So I also was able to bring the same sketches to the users and ask, okay, this is the product idea, walk through the process and to get the idea if it resonates with them or not. But the most important in a solution phase is to have something visual. Because if I say, okay, imagine the product that helps you to do grocery shopping collaboratively. I can guarantee that every one of you has a different idea in your head. So if we want to get a feedback on the idea that we have in our head, we have something to show so that we can stay on the same page with the customers. And then when we have a right solution, we can go to usability stage. So what I did, I just selected the key functionality of the product that I was about to create, and created a simple clickable prototype in Envision app, and brought that prototype in front of the customers and said, okay, just complete the task that I asked. So this is like the task that they are supposed to do with those screens. And by observing people completing the task that the screens was supposed to made for, I can identify the potential feedback problem and the potential problems that I can solve just in Photoshop and not bring it into the production stage. So at that time, my 6 hours, of course, finished, and I couldn't bring the whole product further. And of course, if you build a real product, it will be a more complicated process. Probably you will jump back and forth from one stage to another stage. Imagine you create a clickable prototype and you think that's probably going to solve the problem that we have in our head, and we bring that prototype in front of the customers, and customers just don't understand what the product is all about. So sometimes we can go from usability stage back to the problem stage and to see, like, maybe we got the problem wrong. So what's next? Like, what is the best way to try at least incorporate talking to customers more professionally in your product process? For me, the biggest eye-opener was problem interviews. So actually, taking a problem that we want to solve and bringing to the customers and talking to them without actually showing or talking about your product at all. So what I would encourage everyone to do, probably everyone has a product idea in their head. Probably someone is already working on some ideas. So we have something to play on. So let's leverage the fact that we are in a conference. And there are lots of helpful people around us. So take 1 or 2 people, buy them a coffee for 15 minutes of time, and just talk about the problem that we want to solve. And then there I have some handouts that would help to conduct your first problem interview. So it's like step-by-step process that you can go through, and it also helps to formulate the right questions to ask for the customer. So if everyone will be interested, it's down there. And I guarantee if you'll do at least one product interview, it will change the way you create products. And if you don't, just drop me an email. I'll be very curious to learn, like, your story and what went wrong. And buy you lunch. We can talk over the lunch. So thank you for your attention, and I'm open to any of your questions, and just let me know. Thank you.